It's time for some Saturday afternoon matinee hoops. Lane Tech and St. Ignatius set for tip-off in just over 5 minutes. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Alex Burstein, above the court here at St. Ignatius College Prep for what should be a fun one between Lane Tech and the Wolfpack. These teams do not play a lot. The last time they played in 2007, where the Wolfpack took the win, but obviously both these teams look a lot different today, and both of them looking for a big win over each other. St. Ignatius entered this season ranked very highly. They've had some struggles. They've had some hot stretches. They're just coming off of a 3-game losing streak, but they've won a couple in a row, and they're hoping to keep that going this afternoon against Lane Tech. Lane Tech, meanwhile, coming off of a big win over Schurz in the first round of the Public League playoffs. And this game you can call a tune-up before possibly their toughest test of the season when they take on the Curie Counters in round number 2 of the Chicago Public League playoffs on Monday afternoon. We have just about 4 minutes to go, though, here in Chicago before tip-off between St. Ignatius and Lane Tech. The Wolfpack entered tonight's matchup with a 14-10 record. Probably a little more losses than you would have expected for them heading into the season. They're a really loaded roster. It's pretty senior heavy. They have some junior talent, but this was their season, and they've had some struggles, but they're hoping to get hot when it matters most. They're coming into a very winnable 3A sectional. Teams like Fenwick and Westinghouse are probably going to be their biggest challengers, but St. Ignatius definitely has a chance to win a sectional once state playoffs come together. They'll be hosting their own regional, and this is just, they're using these last couple of games for tune-up. Lane Tech, meanwhile, they've already started their playoff run in the Public League playoffs. They were able to cruise in the first round against Schurz, as we mentioned, but Curie, it's possibly going to be their toughest match of the year. They're going to have about 48 hours after this one to prepare for them. That is a Monday tip-off at 5 p.m. against Curie, so we'll see what happens with that one. Lane Tech going to need a valiant effort to get the win against Curie. But back to today's game, we'll get you your starting lineups first for the visiting Lane Tech basketball team. They're going with their same 5 as usual. That will be number 1, Sean Malloy getting the start. To go along with number 5, Ethan Grunenbaum, who's coming off of a big game, 16 points against Schurz, one of his season highs. He was coming off an injury and just was lights out shooting, especially from 3 against the Bulldogs on Thursday, I should say. Then to round out the starting lineup, it'll be number 22, number 23, and number 24. Shahid Solibo, Stephen Goonan, and Lucas Basil gained the start. None of them were that big of scorers. In fact, Grunenbaum was really the only guy who had a big impact on Thursday's game. Malloy and Solibo were kind of quiet, and those have been the 2 stars all season long for Lane Tech. So if Lane Tech wants to contend in games like this and on Monday, they're going to need some big stuff from their stars, Malloy and Solibo. So those are your 5. We'll take the court in just a couple of minutes for Lane Tech. As for St. Ignatius, they have a pretty star-studded starting 5, starting off with number 1, Miles Casey, the 6-foot senior. Had a couple of big games, usually plays in, he is listed as a point guard, but we'll see where he plays tonight. Then number 2, AJ Red, one of the top guys on this team. It was All-City last year, got so many honors last season, and has brought it into this year. The 6'3 senior gets the start. To go along with number 10, Noah Davis, the 6'2 senior. Number 23, Richard Barron. We said that this is a strong senior team, but if there's one junior to keep an eye out for, it is going to be Richard Barron. He's just been so good this season. He's going to be a D1 player, was listed as a top 50 player in the area entering his junior year this season, and he's just been so good this season. He gets the start. And finally, the star on this team, number 32, Colby Gile, the 6'6 senior. He is going to be playing at Air Force Division I next season. He's just been great, so those 5 will be starting out tonight for the Wolfpack. So just looking at the statistic sheet, St. Ignatius probably has the edge, but Lane Tech has more wins on the year, and Lane Tech, you can tell, really wants to get the victory, what would be a big victory against the Wolfpack this afternoon. Weird tip-off time, 2 p.m. on a Saturday, but we'll be able to get home and maybe watch some of the more competitive matchups this evening. A lot of basketball going on in the Chicagoland area with some big matchups highlighted by Glenbard West taking on Sierra Canyon on I think Winchester Credit 1 this evening, so that will be a fun one. But first, St. Ignatius and Lane Tech, 30 seconds on the clock. Then we'll have starting lineups, and then it'll be time for tip-off here at the home of a Wolfpack. Decent-sized crowd on hand, not too many people, but some fans coming out for some Saturday afternoon hoops. I don't think our mic is going to pick up the starting, the PA announcer for tonight, so we're going to go through the starting lineup. So once again, first off, for the visiting Lane Tech, or first we'll go to the National Anthem, and then we'll go to that. We'll be back in just a second. You're watching Lane Tech basketball here on the Lane Tech Athletics YouTube channel.
In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit, amen. Heavenly Father, we thank you for the blessings of this day, for this opportunity to come together. We ask by the power of your grace, these young men may utilize well the talents with which they have been endowed, that they may play with the spirit of tenacity, selflessness, sacrifice, and that all their actions on and off the court may be for the greater glory and honor of your most holy name. We make this prayer through Christ our Lord. Amen. Saint Ignatius, pray for us. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. I ask you to remain standing and face the north walls to honor our nation and those who defend her with the playing of our national anthem.
It's almost time for tip-off here at St. Ignatius. Alex bursting on the call here from the St. Ignatius Wolfpack Gymnasium. We'll get you through your starting lineups once again. First off, for the visiting Lane Tech basketball team, it's going to be their same five as usual. Sean Malloy, Ethan Grunebaum, Shahid Solibo, Stephen Goonan, and Lucas Basil starting at the 5 for Lane Tech this afternoon. Nicholas Legalbo, the head coach for tonight's matchup. And for St. Ignatius, they'll be going with a star-studded starting 5 this afternoon. First off, number 1, Miles Casey, the 6-foot senior. Then number 2, A.J. Red. Number 10, excuse me, Noah Davis, the 6'2 senior. Number 23, Richard Barron, the 6'5 junior. And number 32, Kobe Geel, the 6'6 senior. So it's actually not going to be that big of a height advantage for St. Ignatius entering tonight's contest. They bring some height near the end of their lineup, as you heard there, with Geel and Barron listed at 6'6 and 6'5 respectively. But overall, they'll be pretty even height matchups, and we'll see how that works out in tonight's game. St. Ignatius is coached by head coach Matt Monroe in his 6th year ahead of this St. Ignatius program. As we mentioned, this was supposed to be the big year for St. Ignatius. They have some big names, and they've played well, but they've had some upsetting losses that they know they could have won. Earlier this month, they had 3 losses in a row. They probably could have won them all. 1-point loss to Bennett Academy, 10-point loss to Providence Catholic, a 3-point loss to Nazareth Academy. That's 3 games you want back. If they would have won those, that would have been a 17-7 team. Instead, they're 14-10, and they're just fighting for seeding in their sectional, which will be coming up in just a couple of weeks. It's just about time for tip-off here at St. Ignatius in the circle to start things off this afternoon. It'll be Geel and Basil. Looks as if Basil probably has an inch. I think they're listed at the same height. Yeah, both listed at 6'6", but a little bit of a height advantage for Basil, but that hasn't mean much this season. We've seen Basil lose a couple of tips despite the height advantage, so we'll see what happens here tonight. Ref at midcourt Lane Tech will be going left to right in their green away jerseys. St. Ignatius right to left in their white homes, and we're underway. St. Ignatius wins it, and Barron will have the first touches tonight for the Wolfpack. Lane Tech entering tonight's contest with a 16-7 record as A.J. Red gets his first touches of the night, gets it to Barron. The junior pulls for three, can't get it to go, and Ethan Grunebaum will pull down the first rebound of the night for Lane Tech. 0-0, 7:30 to go in quarter number 1 of play. St. Ignatius, as we mentioned, 14-10 entering tonight's contest. They're going to win their conference, the white part of the Chicago Catholic League. It's definitely the weaker half, but they should win that part of the conference, entering with a 7-3 conference record. Still scoreless here in some non-conference play. 7:10 to go in quarter number 1. Malloy trying to work his way down low, hands it off to Basil. Basil scored early against Schurz and then was quiet. He'll miss his first shot attempt here, rebounded by Barron. And the 6'5 junior will bring things up the court for the Wolfpack. Still scoreless a minute into this one, quarter number 1 of action, as Miles Casey, the senior, will hold it. 4 seniors in the starting lineup tonight for St. Ignatius. As we mentioned, next year will be interesting to see. They're going to have Barron, but how they build around him with some other juniors who might not be gaining as much playing time this year will be interesting. But first, St. Ignatius looking to close out this year strong. Lane Tech sticking hard with this man-to-man defense and not laying any open looks as Gio gets blocked by Grunebaum. Grunebaum probably 6-7 inches shorter than Gio there. However, he gets up there, gets the block, and Grunebaum with a block and a rebound. A minute and a half into this one. 6:26 to go. First quarter, and no, the score bug is not wrong. It is still 0-0 here between Lane Tech and St. Ignatius. Barron far side, they're going to get to the top of the key. Casey driving in, goes up for 2 and gets it to fall, and the first points of the night belong to Miles Casey, and it's a 2-0 lead for the Wolfpack with 6:10 to go in the first quarter of play. Lane Tech going to look to respond with some points here, but there will be a steal from St. Ignatius. Fighting on the ground for it was Malloy, and thus going to say it goes off of St. Ignatius. So it must have gone off the fingertips of Red there. A.J. Red, the senior for the Wolfpack, and Lane Tech will get it back. Still a 2-point game, 6 minutes to go, quarter number 1 of action. Grunebaum's been good on the defensive side of things. He had a really good offensive match on Thursday as Salibo drives in. He's going to get fouled by Gio, and he'll head to the line to shoot a pair. As we mentioned in the pregame, Saliba was pretty quiet on Thursday night against Schurz. It was very uncharacteristic. He missed, I think, 3 straight threes, and then another one in the third quarter against the Bulldogs. That's just not what you see from Lane Tech's star sophomore. We'll see if he can switch that around tonight as he drains the first free throw to get on the scoreboard. First Lane Tech player to score tonight, and it's 2-1 with 5:50 to go in the first quarter. Second free throw is good as well. And we're all knotted up at 2. 5:45 to go, quarter number 1 of action. Lane Tech hoping for, I guess, what you could call an upset win against St. Ignatius. This game was originally scheduled to be played in December as 3-ball missed from Barron, rebounded by Salibo. He's off to the races before slowing things down. But as he said, these teams were originally supposed to play in December, and it was probably a much different momentum-wise back then. At the start of the season, St. Ignatius was one of the most highly touted teams in the area, as this 2 will be missed and still stuck at 2-2. Just over 5 to play in the first quarter. A low-scoring offensive matchup here. Down low, another block there from Grunebaum, but they'll say there was some contact. It'll be the first foul of the day against Lane Tech. And Red will head to line to shoot a pair and try to get the Wolfpack back into the game. But so that original one did not happen due to COVID protocols within the St. Ignatius program, and now they were able to reschedule it in February, where both these teams look a lot different. As the first free throw missed there from A.J. Red, the 6'3 senior. Still 2-2, 5:11 to go, quarter number 1 of play, as the second free throw is good, and he will give the Wolfpack a 1-point lead, 3-2. Very low-scoring affair here as they'll get it out to Goonan. Goonan doesn't shoot a lot of threes, and he misses his first shooting attempt of the night, and the Wolfpack get it back. 3-2, 4:55 to go. The three on its way from Barron, and you could not expect him to stay quiet for a while. First bucket of the night for Richard Barron, and he puts St. Ignatius at the biggest lead of the night now here. 4 points in the first quarter. Shot attempt no good, took a weird bounce, but will be brought down by Casey. And St. Ignatius looking to use the momentum here after that big three from Barrett. Geel with it, driving in from the outside, guts in and scores. And that's just so impressive from Geel. He has the build of a true big man, but he's able to play from the perimeter, get in, so athletic, and finish with the two. And St. Ignatius rolling here now, up 8-2 with 4:10 to play in the first quarter. We'll have a mass timeout coming up soon, and we'll also have the first sub for St. Ignatius, as Emmett O'Shaughnessy will be one of the juniors leading this team next year. We'll check in soon. Grunewald looking to get Lane Tech back on the scoreboard. He will get pushed. Fouls will be called on Casey, and Ethan Grunewald will head to the line to shoot a pair. Lane Tech has not scored a field goal yet, and they will call a mass timeout. So it looks as if Casey's going to be the one who checks out of the game after this as O'Shaughnessy comes in, but Lane Tech, as we mentioned, no field goals yet. They have 2 free throws through Solibo, and Grunewald will hope to grow that here. But this has been a struggle the past couple of games for Lane Tech. They were able to beat Schurz and Northside, but it just doesn't feel like Lane Tech is having as many shot attempts, and when they do, they're just not going in as much. They had a 4-game losing streak earlier this month that really hurt them at the end of conference play. Took them from a 4-1 conference record to a 4-5 conference record in just about a week. So Lane Tech, this is the most important part of the season, and they are really going to need to improve that shooting and get some shots to fall here with 3:57 to go in quarter number 1 of play. The Wolfpack with an early lead on their home court over Lane Tech. Obviously, anything can still happen here, but St. Ignatius looking good. They were slow out of the gate. It was 3-2 about a minute ago, but then a 3 from Barron and another field goal made from St. Ignatius gets them in the more commanding lead with as we exit the first mass timeout. Alex Burston on the call here from St. Ignatius Gymnasium, the Joseph J. Gentile Gymnasium, as you see there on the top right-hand part of your screen. And out of the timeout, it'll be 2 free throws here from Ethan Grunewald. Grunewald coming off a 16-point performance, makes his first one, and he'll get on the scoreboard for the first time tonight. Just the second Lane Tech player to score. 16 was tied for a season high for Grunewald, as the second free throw good as well, and he has 2 here now, early quarter number 1. 3:54 to go, 8-4. St. Ignatius doubling Lane Tech's score early on. They're going to break the Lane Tech press through Barron, and we'll see. Lane Tech has tried to press early on in some games, but usually if a team's beating it, they'll back off, as Geel down low will take it out and pass it over to Red. Red between his legs. Those two were the duo that everyone was looking at prior to the season as he misses the shot. But Red and Geel, 2 of the big seniors on this St. Ignatius team, and Lane Tech now have a chance to cut it to a 1-possession game. We'll have 2 subs into the game soon for Lane Tech. Solibo pulls for the Strange 2, gets it. Doesn't get it, excuse me. It was a little off balance there. And St. Ignatius will get it back. Still no made shots for Lane Tech here in the first quarter, as down low Red makes up for that last missed shot. He has 3 points tonight and the lead up to 6, the biggest of the night for the Wolfpack here. 2:58 to go, quarter number 1 of action between St. Ignatius and Lane Tech. Goonan has that tough matchup with Barron, and he'll pass it off to Solibo instead. Solibo also with a tough matchup. They have Geel on him usually. And now Malloy, who possibly has the most favorable matchup with Red, drives in but misses his 2. And they are going to call a foul there, I believe, on Malloy. Yes, so Malloy's going to get called for the foul. That is the second foul of the day on Lane Tech. So both teams with 2 fouls now here, early quarter number 1. Malloy just has not been finishing those shots as much as he was at the start of the season. I think a big part of it, earlier in the season, it seemed like he was getting more calls from referees for blocking from the opposing team. He just has not really been getting those calls here in this last month or so. As Geel with it, try to work on Jack Soar, another mismatch there, and now they'll switch him off. Inside, Gio loses it. Tight defense here from Lane Tech. Now they have some size disadvantage, but this pass will be overthrown by Gio, and Lane Tech will get it back. Down by 6 here, 2-10. Lane Tech really wants to get a basket here to get back in this one. A three-pointer would make it a one-possession game. Grundebom to Rosenkrantz. Rosenkrantz, one of the three-point threats on this Lane Tech team. And I think they're going to call a foul on St. Ignatius. They will. It's called on number 10, Noah Davis, his first. However, I didn't see where the contact was. Must have been when Rosenkrantz just got it. And Ross will check out of the game as Jackson Kotecki comes in, the 6'8 junior. So now Kotecki, the tallest player on the court. Despite the height, he does not start in the starting lineup, but a very impressive player. As Malloy on the far side passes it off to Jack Tsor. Coming off of a season-high 12 points made on four three-pointers. He's been kind of quiet shooting, but if he can repeat his performance from Schurz tonight, that would be big for Lane Tech. Parker Springer also into the game for Lane Tech. Grundebom pulls for three and gets it. He's up to 7 points. Excuse me, Lane Tech is up to 7 points. And just like that, as we mentioned, it's a one-point game with 1:34 to go in quarter number 1, as a 30-second timeout is going to be called by St. Ignatius. So we'll see if that's the boost Lane Tech needed. That is the third, fourth, and fifth point tonight for Ethan Grundebom. He went 2 for 2 from the line a couple of seconds ago. And more importantly, that is the first field goal all night long for Lane Tech. They were not able to score a field goal in the first 6.5 minutes of play, but they're able to do so here. And now they make it just a one-possession game, and they force head coach Matt Monroe, of the St. Ignatius Wolfpack to call his first timeout of the night. Lane Tech seems to always have their opponents call a lot of timeouts. Against Schurz, I think they called like 3 in the first half or something. So we'll see if that trend continues tonight. It'll be Wolfpack basketball out of the timeout as they try to get back to the 2-possession lead. 90 seconds to play in quarter number 1. Red with it. Lane Tech with 3 players here in the backcourt trying to press, but St. Ignatius will break it easily. Red driving on Perona, probably the most aggressive defender Lane Tech has. Now they'll switch Perona. Looks like they're playing a zone as Perona just going on to every single player, and they'll find in the corner here for St. Ignatius. No big scores for either team. Still a slow-moving offensive matchup as the 3 here missed by Barron. He had that 1-3, but pretty quiet tonight for the star junior for the St. Ignatius team. Now 50 seconds on the clock. We'll see if Lane Tech tries to hold for one final shot. We've seen them rush shots in the final minute, and we've also seen them hold for 40, 50 seconds. This would be about a 50-second hold, and looks like that might be exactly what they're trying to do. Perona hands it off to Springer, who pulls for 3. There was light defense on him, but he misses it. And saved by Geel, and it will go off of O'Shaughnessy. So Lane Tech will keep possession there. Lucky break for Lane. And they'll have one more chance for a final shot now. 29.5 seconds to play in quarter number 1. Down by 3 here in the St. Ignatius home gymnasium. Jack Tsor inbounding it, gets it to Rosenkrantz. Grundebom's the only guy who has made a shot tonight for Lane Tech. He is off the court right now after being subbed out. Perona, Malloy, Tsor, Rosenkrantz, and Springer, your 5 for Lane Tech. Perona holding the ball, 15 seconds on the clock as we near the end of quarter number 1 of action. A slow-moving first quarter scoring-wise as Tsor with it. They're going to call a charging foul on Sean Malloy. He threw it away and then just ran into 2 guys. I think they'll say Barron was the one who took the charge as Shahid Saliba will check in for Sean Malloy. That's the 3rd foul on Lane Tech this quarter, but more importantly, they're not going to have a chance for one final shot, and St. Ignatius will. 5 seconds for A.J. Red. He gets down the quick court lead, pulls for 3, can't get to go. The putback, no good, as Kotecki unable to score, and that will bring us to the end of 1 quarter of play. 10-7 the score. Wolfpack with an early lead, but it's a close one. We'll be back in just a second. You're watching Lane Tech basketball here on the Lane Tech Athletics YouTube channel. End of one quarter of play, 10-7. Lane Tech on top. Lane Tech trailing St. Ignatius as we enter the second 8 minutes of play. A couple of Lane Tech fans filing into the gymnasium here for some Saturday afternoon hoops. Lane Tech hoping for an upset victory on the road over the Wolfpack, but if they're going to do that, they're going to need to hit some shots. Just one made field goal in the first 8 minutes of play, that coming from Ethan Grunebaum. And Grunebaum will start the second quarter on the bench. It'll be Jack Sower, Joseph Perona, Parker Springer, Shahid Solibo, and Will Rosenkrantz, the 5 on the court. This is not a 5 you've seen play together that much. Solibo's one of the starters, but having Malloy and Grunebaum on the court, on the bench at once, this is a different look for Lane Tech. It'll likely be Solibo doing the point guard roles for Lane Tech as he will get the inbound pass from Jack Sower to start off the second quarter. 8 minutes until halftime. Lane Tech looking to do something offensively and get the lead for the first time tonight over St. Ignatius. Wolfpack led for all 8 minutes as a blocking foul will be called here on Davis. So after a charge was called on Sean Malloy to end the first quarter, now it'll be a block taken by St. Ignatius. Also, Perona, who we haven't seen play in the point guard role that much, but he probably is naturally a point guard. He can also have some ball handling duties here with Malloy and Grunebaum on the bench. 7:30 to go, quarter number 1, and this will go out of bounds. Jack Sower just threw his pass away a little too late, and these little errors by Lane Tech keeping St. Ignatius in this one early. If Lane Tech didn't have a couple of these errors, it would be easy to see them in the lead. Instead, though, it'll be a 3-point Ignatius lead, and they're going to call a violation on St. Ignatius. I'm not sure if there was a foul. I don't think a foul was called. I think they just said 10 seconds or 8 seconds going up the court. And Lane Tech will get the basketball back with no damage done. Lucky break there for Lane Tech. Into the game, it'll be John Kemp, the 5'11 junior. 3-sport athlete, track athlete, football athlete, and basketball athlete for this St. Ignatius team. Football is probably his best sport. He's going to be very big. Oh, so they did call a foul, so it will be the 5th foul. I did not see where the foul happened, but it will be a foul called on St. Ignatius nonetheless, and Lane Tech will get it back down by 3 here. 7:20 to go, quarter number 2 of play. Parker Springer with the basketball, getting a cutting Rosenkrantz, who can't get 2 hands on it. Now in transition, there'll be a foul called on Lane Tech as Jackson Kotecki finds his way to the ground, and Lane Tech will have their 4th foul called against them this quarter. So teams slowly getting closer to that bonus here. 5 for St. Ignatius, 4 for Lane Tech. You can imagine at least one of these teams will be in the bonus by the end of this half, as Davis will inbound it to Red here. I don't think Red's been subbed out. He's had a couple of made shots, a couple misses as well, but an important player for this team as the 3 on its way from Kotecki, no good. And it will be a foul on the rebound against Lane Tech. So Lane Tech, these fouls in very important situations. It seems like Lane Tech fouling when they have opportunities for big rebounds or scores. St. Ignatius also have 5 fouls, but it just seems like in less relevant situations, as Rosenkrantz and Sower will check out of the game. Anthony Zanders making his first appearance, and Ethan Grunebaum will check back in. Height advantage still here for St. Ignatius, as Kotecki will get fouled as the 2nd foul on this possession. This one will be called on Parker Springer. As he stands up, looks like a little limp, but he'll stay in. 6:58 to go, quarter number 2. This will be the 3rd chance this possession for St. Ignatius. They haven't gotten a shot off due to the fouls, but they still have possession here and a 3-point lead. No points scored yet this quarter. Stephen Goonan will check in soon, as driving to the basket and finishing is Barron. And St. Ignatius's lead is up to 5 now here in quarter number 2. For a second in the first, it looked like St. Ignatius might pull away, and then Lane Tech was able to come back and score a couple of quick ones. That's what they'd like to see here. Grunebaum, the leading scorer for Lane Tech, gives it to Solibo. Solibo, once again, quiet through quarter number 1. We'll see if he can change that here, as this will be a turnover, and they say just as Kotecki gets it, he steps out of bounds. So a lucky break there for Lane Tech, as Stephen Goonan checks into the game for Parker Springer. 6:23 to go, quarter number 2 of play. And Anthony Zanders will inbound it. Interesting, they're not having Goonan do it as they get to Grunebaum, and an offensive foul there called on Joseph Perona. Off the ball before the ball had even come in, and refs not playing around with the fouls tonight. That is going to be 7 fouls on Lane Tech. So next foul on offense will mean bonus for St. Ignatius. 5 on St. Ignatius, so 12 fouls called here in the game, and we still have 6:22 to go in quarter number 2. So looks like both of these teams likely going to get into the bonus, and we might have a free throw battle heading into the home stretch of this first half. As Red will get it, finds Barron in the corner, just made a 2, and now he'll make a 3. 7 points tonight for Barron, and 8 points tonight for Barron, and it is an 8-point St. Ignatius lead, under 6 to play in the first half. Grunebaum trying to ignite this Lane Tech offense. He still has the only field goal this game for Lane Tech. Zanders loses it going to the basket, and St. Ignatius will get this back. Not a super big St. Ignatius crowd here in their home gymnasium, but they definitely have the momentum and the energy here as we enter under 6 to play in quarter number 2. Red with it, as we mentioned, has not scored a lot, but really knows how to command this game. As spin move here from Barron, 5:30 to go, quarter number 2. They'll pass it out to Davis. Head coach Nicholas Segal will want to travel there, but the referees won't give it. Driving to the basket, and now a charge will be called on Barron. Refs, a good mix of fouls and, of charges and blocks. You can't really tell what's going to be called until it happens. No patterns from these referees, and that will be team foul number 6 on St. Ignatius. So 7 on Lane Tech, 6 on St. Ignatius, and a turnover here right into the hands of Zanders. Finishing at the basket is Kemp. He gets his first points of the night, and the lead up to double digits for the first time tonight. Timeout called by Lane Tech. That is going to be a full timeout. So head coach Nicholas Segal wants a long talk with his team. Looks as if Anthony Zanders is going to take a seat on the bench after that turnover. It'll be Grunebaum, Goonan, Malloy, Basil coming in, and Solivo, the 5 on the court for Lane Tech. No changes needed for St. Ignatius. Their offense is starting to heat up. There we saw some speed from John Kemp, who, as we mentioned, also a track and football player. So you saw that speed he possesses there. 5:13 to go, quarter number 2 of play. And looked like it might be a close one, but Lane Tech now has not scored almost 3 minutes into the second quarter. They're going to need to change that around here if they want to stick in this one. A couple more baskets, and we could be looking at a blowout or steps towards a blowout for St. Ignatius. St. Ignatius, this is back-to-back games on back-to-back days. They played in their senior night, honoring their 9 seniors last night. It was a big win for them. They played against Providence St. Mel, who has only won 3 games all year long, but they were able to get a 69-42 victory. And then on Tuesday, they won 58-52 against Marmion. So that was a close one, but they were able to get the win. Probably should have won by more there, but they still get the victory. Before that, as we mentioned, they were on a 3-game losing streak, but St. Ignatius trying to change that streak around here. Out of the timeout, it'll be Lane Tech basketball. Grunebaum bringing it up the court. As we mentioned, Lucas Basil checking into the game for Anthony Zanders here as we reach the 5-minute mark to go in quarter number 2. So Malloy underneath the basket and gets the finish. First points of the night from Sean Malloy, and if Lane Tech wants to contend in this one, they're going to need some from him. As Red trying to get inside, can't do it. Lane Tech's defense has been good tonight. They've given up 17, but that's not too many to this St. Ignatius team. And now down low, it'll be an and-one from Barron. There's a couple of guys really strong, Red, Gile, but Barron has definitely been the star tonight for St. Ignatius. He is now up to 11 points in the first half of play. He can make it 12 here as he tries to convert the 3-point play. And just as Lane Tech cut it to a single-digit lead, now St. Ignatius will get it back in the biggest lead of the night at 11, 20-9, with 4:30 to go in the first half of play. It was a good sign for Lane Tech that Malloy was able to score there. They're going to need some more from him. They're also going to need some more from Saliba, who throws this pass away. Just a miscommunication. Looked as if he was trying for Grunewald maybe, and he went one way and Salibo threw the other, and Lane Tech will turn it over. Lane Tech forces a lot of turnovers, so they don't turn it over a lot. It's been the opposite tonight. We have not seen Lane Tech able to take the ball away from the Wolfpack a lot. On the flip side, there has been a lot of turnovers. Now we'll see a turnover to Lane Tech as Salibo dunks it in. He got high over the rim there. We've seen some highlight reel dunks from Salibo, but his first points of the night come on a big dunk. And it's a 9-point lead once again for St. Ignatius. 4 minutes to go. We'll have a mass timeout soon. Wide open underneath the basket. Responding with a quick two is Kotecki, and both these teams trading off dunks now. 22-11, 3:50 to go in quarter number 2. So both the teams find players their first points of the night with dunks, and now Barron will just lay it in, plays it safe, but he has 13 points. And now 13-point lead, so after it looked like Lane Tech might have a little bit of momentum, St. Ignatius stretches it to the biggest lead of the night here with under 3.5 to play in quarter number 2. Salibo with it here on the near side, being guarded here by Red. Now Salibo driving right-hand side, and he's going to travel there. Looked like he got tripped up and didn't have a pivot foot in the ground. He gets called for the travel, and St. Ignatius will get it back, and we will head to a mass timeout here from Joseph J. Gentile Gymnasium. 3:13 to go. It's a 24-11 lead for St. Ignatius. So Lane Tech has finally figured out how to score the basketball. It's not going to be three-point shooting. It's going to be probably drives to the basket and scoring through dunks and layups like we saw there from Salibo and Malloy, respectively. The problem is they're not having a lot of opportunities for that. The St. Ignatius team really crowding the inside of the perimeter and doing a good job of preventing shots and attempts from Lane Tech. So we'll see if they can keep that up here in the end of the second half. Still a 13-point lead, so definitely surmountable for Lane Tech, but a lot of times this season, Lane Tech has a lot of wins. They have a lot of good wins. Some things we have not seen a lot from Lane Tech, not a lot of comeback victories, especially in conference play. Fell behind against Westinghouse, lost that one. Fell behind against Clark. They really did not have the opportunity to win that one in the second half, so we'll see if they can do that here, but as we mentioned, just comebacks have not been a part of Lane Tech basketball's blood here in the 2021-2022 season. Just 4 combined points from Sean Malloy and Shahid Salibo, but both of them were in the last minute or two, so we'll see if those, 4 for Shahid Salibo, his first field goal of the night. He had 2 free throws, but those two have been quiet, combining for 6 points, and they'll need to heat up here with 3:10 to go in quarter number 2. Lane Tech trailing by 13 to the Wolfpack. Alex Burston on the call here from Lane Gymnasium. Kotecki's been great. Threw that one a little bit off, but Kemp is there to get it. And now they'll have Davis near the logo. Barron, the leading scorer for either team, pulls for 3. Air ball there, just hit the net. And Lane Tech will get it back. 2:45 now to go. Quarter number 2. Grunewald, right-hand side. He's going to Euro step in, and they are going to call a charge. Offensive foul there called against Ethan Grunewald, and it will be his first foul, but the 9th team foul this half called against Lane Tech. So just about everything being called against Lane. They're not getting any lucky breaks, and it will stick with a 13-point Wolfpack lead with the chance to bring that up here as they have the ball with 2:30 to go here in the half. O'Shaughnessy's been quiet, gets it down low to Kotecki, and they will call a foul on Grunewald. So back-to-back fouls, and it's 1 and 1. That actually should be double bonus. The refs originally put up 1 and 1, but that's going to be the 10th foul. Lane Tech is over the limit, and they're going to get 2 free throws here at the line. Shooting will be, as we mentioned, number 24, Kotecki, Jackson Kotecki, the 6'8 junior. Has himself listed at 6'9 on Twitter, but either way, he'll be the tallest player on this team and on either team in tonight's matchup. As the first shot, no good. 2 points this afternoon for Kotecki. Hasn't scored a lot, but had that big dunk. As he'll try to make the second one. And the forward gets it. So 4 So 3 points, excuse me, for Kotecki and a 14-point lead for St. Ignatius with 2:20 to go. Lane Tech really needs to score here if they're going to not go into the locker room with a double-digit deficit. So Lebo spin move, loses it, and they're going to call a foul immediately against Salibo. Oh, I thought that was going to be called. Oh, no, now they will call it against Ignatius. I guess both teams in the bonus. So Salibo coughed it up, but in the process, St. Ignatius was called for a foul. And we'll have a sub into the game soon for the Wolfpack, but first Salibo will be shooting. Oh, no, they'll let him in first. So checking into the game will be number 25, Reggie Ray, the 6'2 sophomore guard. And Barron will come out. Also checking in, A.J. Red comes in for Davis. And there was one more as Kemp checked out of the game. We'll try to see who came in for him in a second. As the first shot is good for Salibo. He's been one of the more consistent guys, especially as of recent, for Lane Tech from the free throw line. And Salibo now has 5 points in in the first 2 quarters of play, 2-11. So he's scored almost half of Lane Tech's points, and he will make it 6 with the second free throw. 25-13 the score. Lane Tech looking to cut this to a single-digit deficit. St. Ignatius with a basket here could make that a lot harder to do. A.J. Red with it, being guarded by Grunebaum. Right-hand side, drives to the basket and is able to finish. So Red had the height disadvantage against Basil there, but he kind of moved his body away from Basil and was able to just get so high off of that jump to get over Basil and get the 2 and the lead up to 14 now for the Wolfpack. 1:40 to go. Malloy underneath the basket. He's able to finish. Same way he did it last time. That's the easiest way Malloy can score. He's up to 4. And the lead back down to 12 now. 1:30 to go. 90 seconds in half number 1 of play. It's one of the lowest scoring half we've seen all season from Lane Tech as the ball goes in and out for Gilles there. And Lane Tech will get it back. I was almost certain that ball was going to fall in. Looked like it was falling in, and then it just bounces back out. And Lane Tech gets it back. 2 makes it a 10-point game. 3 makes it a single-digit game. 1:05 to go, and Salibo commits a turnover here. As good of a scorer he is, that is definitely something the sophomore will want to work on as he coughs it up. Now Lane Tech gets it back. Malloy coming off of 2 points. Gets another 2. Malloy has been quiet the last couple of games, had 10 against Northside, but his last big game was a 15-point performance against Whitney Young. And now looks like the Wolfpack are going to hold for one final shot. So we'll see if it is a 10-point lead or a 10-plus point lead heading into the locker room. St. Ignatius definitely has no momentum. They've played as the better team. A big part of that is Lane Tech turned the ball over way too much and also just have not been making their shots. St. Ignatius, they not making all their shots, but they've definitely shot it a lot better than Lane Tech, and they'll have one final shot here at the end of quarter number 2. As O'Shaughnessy gets it to Red. Red coming off at 2 points. Will try to get in. Tight defense here from Grunbaum. 4 on the clock. Red goes up. Weird shot. Can't get to go. And that will roll out of bounds as the clock expires, and that will bring us to the end of 2 quarters of play. 27-17 the score, a 10-point Lane Tech lead, St. Ignatius lead. So the Wolfpack do what kind of we expected to do. I'd say they entered as the favorites in this one, despite having more losses from Lane Tech. They're a pretty quality ball club. Lane Tech stays in this one, but they only put up 17 points in the first half. It's kind of what we talked about a couple of minutes ago. Lane Tech's offense has just not been as good as it was. In broadcast at the Main East Holiday Tournament, the couple of games after that, we were talking about how this Lane Tech offense is the best it's looked in a couple of years. 2 years ago when they had Louis Prona and Rashad Harries, that team could score the ball. Last year, it's kind of a drop-off offensively for Lane Tech, and then that was not the case this past year as Lane Tech's offense really took off this season. It's just been quiet the last couple of games, and now they only put 17 points up in the first half. They're going to need a big change here. Scoring breakdown, it's 6 for Sean Malloy, 5 for Ethan Grunebaum, and 4 for Shahid Salibo. I think that adds up to the number. There's only 3 scores this afternoon for Lane Tech in Malloy, Salibo, and Grunebaum. As for St. Ignatius, they have a couple more scores. Casey has 2, 5 from A.J. Red, 2 from John Kemp. 3 from Jackson Kotecki, and then the big scorer, Richard Barron. Oh, also 2 from Geel, and then the big scorer, Richard Barron. He has 6, 8, 10, 13 points for Richard Barron heading into the second half of play. St. Ignatius is going to look for a big scoring from him as they enter the second 16 minutes of play. We're going to take a quick break to tweet out the score. We'll be back in just a couple of minutes to recap the first half of play and get you ready for the second 16 minutes of action. Don't go anywhere. You're watching Lane Tech Basketball here on the Lane Tech Athletics YouTube channel. .6:45 to go in the halftime break here at Lane Gymnasium. At St. Ignatius Gymnasium. Thanks for joining us. Alex Burstein on the call here from St. Ignatius. You can look at the score bug and see it's not a super high scoring game, but St. Ignatius kind of pulls away in the second quarter. Their offense definitely picked up. They put up 27 points in the first half. They're on pace for just under 60, not super big for them, but they are still on pace to win this game. Lane Tech, they're going to need some adjustments. They need to score more than 17 points in the second half to win this one. They've had some offensive efforts. As we mentioned, just 3 players recording points in the first 16 minutes of play. Sean Malloy, Ethan Grunenbaum, and Shahid Salibo. Might be missing the basket, but I'm pretty sure Malloy leads all scorers for Lane Tech with 6 points. But they just have not had any offense stepping up, and then they also have not had a defensive solution for Richard Barron, the 6'5 junior. Doing some prep for this team. Barron has really been the star this season for St. Ignatius. He had a visit to the University of Illinois a couple of weeks ago. He's going to be a Division I player, really good basketball player, and he's shown that tonight. 13 points through just 16 minutes of play for Barron, and he's really putting this St. Ignatius team on the back. Without him, as you can see in the score, they would not be winning this one, but Barron has been very impressive and has Ignatius with a double-digit lead heading into the second half of play. We'll take you down to the court with 5 minutes to go until we tip off the second quarter. All season long, it has been the same starting 5 on the court for Lane Tech to start the second quarter. It's been to start the third quarter as it was to start the first quarter. Not been that for all teams, so we'll see what St. Ignatius does, but we can expect Sean Malloy, Ethan Grunenbaum, Shahid Salibo, Stephen Goonan, and Lucas Basil to start off the third quarter for Lane Tech. Basil just has not done much, and he can sometimes score when he's the tallest big, but in just this game, he's not the tallest. There's a couple of St. Ignatius guys who have a couple of inches on him, and because of that, he's just really struggled to get points in the paint. Just had 1 shot attempt early on in the first quarter. I think it was the first shot attempt of the game. Basil missed that one, and since then he has been shut out. No points for the 6'6 senior. Same with Stephen Goonan. He had 1 shot attempt with a 3-pointer, missed that one, and he's been quiet since. So those two have combined for 2 shot attempts. The other 3, Salibo, Grunenbaum, and Malloy, as we mentioned, they kind of picked it up. Grunenbaum started off really strong. He was the leading scorer for Lane Tech at the end of 1, and then that kind of changed in the second quarter as Malloy and Salibo slowly started to pick things up. Malloy was finishing his baskets down low, which is going to be very important for Lane Tech. If Malloy can finish down low, and also if he can get some and ones, that would be very big for Lane Tech as they try to eat into this lead. As for St. Ignatius, it's been the Barron show. AJ Red has also been impressive. Just 5 points for Red, but we talked about this. He's just really impressive as the guard. He averaged 11.7 points per game last year, but he was all state in the IBCA. He was all city, all conference. So he's not a super big scorer, but he finds other ways to make an impact, as you can see with that points per game last year and all those honors. And that's exactly what we've seen tonight. He can probably get 12 tonight, but his impact passing the ball and bringing it up the court will be even bigger for the Wolfpack. Who else has been a big impact? Casey's been kind of quiet. Miles Casey, the 6-foot senior. Lane Tech has done a decent job at stopping Colby Giel, the 6'6 senior. He just has 2 points as we enter the second 16 minutes of play. But this has kind of been an ongoing theme for Lane Tech. They are able to stop some of the top guys like we saw against Whitney Young. It was not a great performance from AJ Casey, the top guy on the squad. However, they were able to pass it off and find their second or third guy in Davis. And from that, they were able to, Whitney Young was able to pull away and beat Lane Tech. So, while Lane Tech has stopped the D1 commit Giel, who will be playing at Air Force next year, they have to find ways to stop the rest of this Wolfpack offense, or at least pick up their own. I mean, 27 points in the first half is not all that impressive. Lane Tech's had multiple guys teams go for 30 plus in the first half of play. They've done a decent job defensively, but if they just need to pick up their offense a lot in this second 16 minutes. As we mentioned, this will be the first game in 3 days for Lane Tech. They played on Thursday. They were supposed to play last night against Curie. That got canceled. I guess it's technically the second and third, but that got postponed, I should say. Curie asked for an extra day. They have a big matchup today, a bunch of big matchups going around the Chicago land area, so they asked to move it to Monday, and it means the winner of that one's going to be playing back-to-back in the city playoffs because the quarterfinals are set for Tuesday night. So interesting decision there, but Lane Tech agrees, and it will be a 5 p.m. tip-off at Curie. All the other quarterfinal matchups are set. It was kind of a slow night for the Red Northwest last night as we enter the third round of the playoffs. Lane Tech is surviving, or is surviving, and then I think that might be it. So, and Whitney Young. So Whitney Young beat Phillips last night. They played Vashon today, but they're into the quarterfinals, or will be playing in the quarterfinals too. And I believe Clark is. So it's those three plus Lane Tech maybe in the quarterfinals. But Westinghouse is out after a triple overtime loss to Morgan Park. North Lawndale's out, Farragut's out, Lincoln Park's out, Marshall's out, and Schure's out. So the Red Northwest not doing super great matched up against these Red South Central teams, and South Central's just been so dominant this year. And we talked about this during our Schure's broadcast when we were kind of looking through the bracket. There's a decent chance all 4 of the teams that make it to the semifinals are going to be from the Red South Central. Like in Lane Tech's quadrant, if the winning seeds win out, so if Lane Tech loses to Curie, it'll be Curie versus Clark. Clark's the 1 seed, Curie's the 2 seed, but Clark has played not as well as Curie has this year. Clark just the 2 seed because there's only so many teams that can be in the top 2 in their conference. So we'll see what happens there. Back to our game, it's just about time for the start of the second half of play. It looks like it will be the same starting 5 for the St. Ignatius Wolfpack as well. So it'll be Malloy, Solibo, Springer, Grunebaum, and Goonan, your 5 for Lane Tech. Oh, actually, no. O'Shaughnessy is going to start instead of Davis. Instead of Casey. So it'll be O'Shaughnessy, Davis, Red, Barron, and Giel as Casey starts the second half on the bench for the Wolfpack. 8 minutes on the clock to the side. The third quarter of this one. Still a lot more time to play, but St. Ignatius trying to extend their lead up by 10 as we start the third quarter of play. O'Shaughnessy has been pretty quiet offensively as the junior passes it off here. And now back to Barron, wide open for 3, and he drains it. That is not what Lane Tech has. If you leave Barron open, this could be a 30-point game for him and a 30-point win for St. Ignatius as they score right out of the gate here to start quarter number 3. Malloy with it down low, goes up for 2. He's hit every single shot he's taken like that tonight. Malloy just kind of runs around the baseline and then finds the ball and just runs around and hits the 2. So Malloy continues his night, but we'll see what Lane Tech can do to get a stop here. 7:18 to go, quarter number 3 of play as Barron pulls for another 3. Can't get it to go. The putback from O'Shaughnessy is good, though. Right place, right time there for Emmett O'Shaughnessy. And the lead back up to 13 here from the Wolfpack. Lane Tech gets 2, but it does not take St. Ignatius long for a response. Sean Malloy scored the first 2. He's up to 8 here in the game. Gets trapped and has to give it out to Goonan. 0 for 1 shooting tonight, as we mentioned, for Goonan, and now Malloy will drive in again. Spin move, gets it to Goonan. Nice ball movement here from Lane Tech. Grunenbaum unable to finish, but Basil with the rebound. Second chance after the offensive rebound. Misses it. Trying for another offensive rebound. Gio will get it instead. Transition offense. Fumbled there from O'Shaughnessy. And fighting for the basketball, they are going to call a foul. Lane Tech really wanted a jump ball there. Head coach Nicholas Legato for Lane Tech not happy with that call. Instead, it will be a foul called against Lane Tech. That is the first foul called against them this half. As Red will inbound things underneath their scoring basket. Gets it to Gio here. 6:20 to go, quarter number 1. And a timeout is going to be called by St. Ignatius. Didn't look like he had possession. Looked like both teams were fighting for it, but the refs allowed a timeout to be called. It's going to be a 30-second timeout, the second timeout called this game by the Wolfpack, and it's kind of been the same story as the first half through the first 90 seconds of this one. I feel like I say that so often. It's just Lane Tech does not usually change their play that much from the first half to the second half. Obviously, they attempt to, but it seems once a team gets a lead against Lane Tech, they just find ways to stop them from eating into this. And this has been the story all year long. When Lane Tech falls behind, they can keep it at a 10-point game, but finding the way to get it back to a 5-point game, a 3-point game, and then getting that lead, that is the true struggle for Lane Tech. As breaking the huddle, it'll be Springer, Grunenbaum, Solibo, Goonan, and Sean Malloy. So Lucas Basil already out of the game here, not even 90 seconds into the third quarter. Also, Kotecki will check out as wide open Gio top the key. Can't get it to go. A couple of unlucky bounces there. And Lane Tech will get the defensive rebound. Lane Tech's done a decent job at rebounding this game. Had that offensive rebound on the last possession, and another foul called against Lane Tech. So Ethan Grunenbaum had a pretty similar play to that, and Lane Tech now with 2 fouls called on them, not even 2 minutes into the first quarter. Third quarter, refs were talking something over. I thought they were going to call a tech. They won't. But it'll still be St. Ignatius basketball. Lane Tech squanders an opportunity, and now they will call a technical foul. Lane Tech, I believe on head coach Nicholas Legalbo, his second technical foul of the year. I think he was just talking from the bench there, and the refs did not like what they hear. And St. Ignatius will now get 2 free shots plus possession, and Barron, the best possible shooter, will take the 2. He makes the first one easily to keep on going with his strong game. 4 points this half for him. 17 overall. Make that 18 as now the lead goes up to 15, the biggest it's been all day for St. Ignatius, and they are going to have possession. So unlucky break there for Lane Tech, now trailing by 15. St. Ignatius just a couple of baskets away from making this a 20-point game as Barron pulls for 2, kind of a line drive shot, doesn't have enough arc, and that will go off of Lane Tech. They said looked as if there was 2 hands on the ball there from either Davis or Gio, but they'll say it goes off of Lane Tech, and Lane Tech not going to gain any calls their way here in the third quarter. St. Ignatius will have another chance to add to their lead here. 5:40 to go, quarter number 3. Red gets it inside to Gio. Gio was quiet the first half, but has his first points of the second half here. He now has 4, and the lead up to 17 for St. Ignatius. Lane Tech needs some points, and they need them quickly here. The steal and the dunk by Barron. Looks so easy there for the 6'5" junior. It's going to be a full timeout called by Lane Tech, their first of the half, second of the game. And just like that, it is a 19-point game. It really could have swung either way. It was a 10-point game at halftime. But St. Ignatius has just come out of the locker room a lot better than Lane Tech has. And the turnover there leads to the dunk from Barron. So let's see. Barron now has 7 this half to go along with 13. So he's already at a 20-point game. And we still have 13 minutes and 20 seconds to go in this one. He has been so impressive here in this game. I wasn't sure who was going to step up. Obviously, Geel is the only D1 commit on this team. He'll play, so, Barron will play Division I, but you expect big stuff from Geel. But Barron has really been the one who steps up for the Wolfpack, and he's led them 20 of their 38 points here as they take a 19-point lead. And we said it, they're just a couple of baskets away from getting it to 20 points, and now they are just 1 point away from making a 20-point lead over Lane Tech. Lane in desperate need of some points here. They've only scored 2 this half. And refs will blow their whistle, and Lane Tech's going to inbound it again. So the 5 on the court right now, Salibo, Malloy, Springer, Goonan, and Grunebaum. Grunebaum, Malloy, and Salibo have all done some stuff with the ball tonight, but they're going to need bigger performances from all 3 of them if they want some sort of comeback here with 5:18 to go in quarter number 3. Malloy thought about the 3, instead gives it to Springer. Springer 0 for 1 shooting tonight, same with Goonan. 5:05 to go, quarter number 3. Screen to his right, Malloy drives to his left, and they're going to call a blocking foul. This time it won't be a charge on Malloy. It will be called against Davis. First foul of the half called against the Wolfpack. Seems like there is more. Oh no, they actually called it on O'Shaughnessy. It looked like it was going to be against Davis, but they'll call it against O'Shaughnessy. But either way, it'll be Lane Tech basketball down by 19 here. Davis with tight defense on Malloy. That's been a troubling matchup for him, and Malloy throws it away, and now they'll call a foul on Davis. So 2 fouls this possession from the Wolfpack. Fouls have been pretty even between the 2 teams. There's just been a lot of them called. Refs seem to be blowing their whistle at most contact between these 2 teams. 4:51 to go now, quarter number 3. Lane Tech trailing St. Ignatius. And the referee talking with head coach Matt Monroe of St. Ignatius. Both the coaches don't seem too happy with the calling from the referees here. Refs had to talk with both of the coaches there. And now it'll be Lane Tech basketball. So Goonan just standing there on the baseline waiting for his chance to inbound it. Now he'll get it. 4:51 to go. Salibo gets the quick inbound, goes up for 2, and gets fouled. So after 0 fouls through the first 3 minutes of the half for St. Ignatius, they have 3 in about 15 seconds to give them the lead in fouls and to give Lane Tech the chance to score their first free throws of the night. As Davis is going to check out of the game. No, they're going to say he has to stay out until after the first free throw here from Salibo. It will be 2 free throws for Shahid Salibo. Trying to add to his total tonight. He has 4 points as the first free throw is good. 3 for 3 from the line tonight for the sophomore. And Kotecki will check into the game for Davis. And Salibo will have one more chance at it. Gets it to an 18-point lead. He can make it 17. And Lane Tech finally reaches the 20-point mark. But Salibo misses his first free throw of the night. And St. Ignatius will get it back up by 18 now, 4:40 to go. Still have that chance to get to the big 20-point lead here on this possession. Tight defense here, double teaming Red. And now Lane Tech will go back to a zone as the 2 goes up and good there from Barron. Who else? Richard Barron with another 2. He has 22 and the lead up to 20 for Lane Tech. Excuse me, for St. Ignatius. 4:15 to go. We'll have a mass timeout soon here in quarter number 3. Lane Tech running out of time to kind of mount a major comeback here as Malloy will pull for 2, gets it to go. Malloy breaks up the scoring run from the Wolfpack and gets back on the scoreboard himself. He has a quiet 10 points, all from about the same spot, and gets it back down under 20 points for the lead. Geel out. Kotecki, the big man, pulls for three and gets it. Well, when you have a big man who can shoot the three, why not do it? I think a foul was called there. And the mass timeout will be called. The refs blew their whistle, maybe just for the timeout. We'll see if a foul is added to the scoreboard. I mean, that was just so hard to stop. Number 24, Jackson Kotecki, the 6'8 junior. He can just score at multiple levels. He's so tall, 6'8", 6'9", wherever he actually is. You'd expect him to be playing solely in the paint, solely scoring, but just watching some highlights tying into this game. He can score with the three ball. He can score with a jumper. He can also obviously score inside, just a multi-level threat. And the junior will be a big part of this team. And, you know, we were talking pregame about how the seniors really dominate this team as well as Barron. But when you have a core like Barron, who will be a starter next year to go along with Kotecki, those two alone will be very impressive. And then you add in someone like John Kemp, who can definitely develop over the next year, and Shaughnessy. You basically have four of your starters, not from this year, but four guys who you know can be starters next year, a little bit of off-season work, and this is definitely a St. Ignatius team who can contend once again next year for a Catholic League white title, and then hopefully a sectional for them as well, or beyond. They've only won a sectional one time in 2000. They've won a bunch of regionals. They won a regional 9 times, most recently in 2020, but still have just won that one sectional in 2000, and they'll try to change that here in 2022. (43-22), a 21-point lead, the biggest it's been tonight after that Kotecki three. We have just under half of the third quarter of play and then 8 minutes to see if Lane Tech can mount some sort of comeback. Jack Tsor pulls for three, can't get to go. He struggled shooting all year long as the two put back from Springer no good, and they'll finally get the foul called against Kotecki there. And Springer will head to the line to shoot two. Tsor, as you mentioned, he struggled shooting most of the year, finally came alive against Schurz on Thursday night with 12 points off of 4 threes, but misses that first three attempt here tonight as Springer misses the first free throw. You have Malloy and Saliba, who are pretty consistent free throw shooters, but you can't really tell what you're going to get from a lot of this team, the rest of this team, free throw shooting wise, as Springer goes 1 for 2 from the line, making his first basket of the night. But yeah, once you get past Malloy and Saliba, it's anyone's guess if they're going to make a free throw or not. As the three, wow, as he was falling, Barron is able to hit, and continues his super impressive tonight. That must be 25. I'm losing count here. I have it written down, but there's just so many numbers to count. Barron just scoring seemingly like every other possession down the court. Saliba trying for the third chance, goes up and one. So he can cancel out that Barron three, but wow, it is just so hard to stop this St. Ignatius offense, which they're just completely running through Barron here tonight. As Shaughnessy will check out for John Kemp. Kemp just at 5'11", one of the shorter guys who gets minutes for the St. Ignatius team, but he's been pretty impressive tonight. Third year with the basketball program, Kemp, as Saliba misses the three-point play attempt, and St. Ignatius will get it back. A lot of these calls have been just so close over whose fingertips it went off of, and you can tell the team who does not get the call seems pretty upset every single time because of how close some of these plays have been. Lane Tech going back to their 4-man full-court press, and St. Ignatius seems to be breaking it with ease. Earlier in the season, Lane Tech had this press where they would trap a guy in the corner, and it was pretty effective. They just have not been able to trap anyone with their press tonight with St. Ignatius, or really in the last couple of games. As they reach their harder part of the second half, which has been the last 5-6 games, that press have just been virtually ineffective for Lane Tech. As Geel able to get past Tsor, goes to the basket, and they'll call a charge. So Lane Tech will get it back. That will be team foul number 3 on St. Ignatius. Missed adding a couple of those for Lane Tech. Oh no, that's a 6 on My apologies, folks. That's foul number 6 on St. Ignatius. Just 2 this half for Lane Tech, but now Lane Tech 1 away from getting into the bonus, as Will Rosenkrantz will check into the game for Ethan Grunebaum. Grunebaum been quiet after that strong first quarter. And Solibo will handle ball handling duties here. Gets it to Springer, who hands it off to Rosenkrantz. Rosenkrantz pulls for 3, and that was just a beautiful play. Springer saw saw Kemp coming on and gave Rosenkrantz the open shot. And when Will Rosenkrantz is given an open 3, he's going to hit that shot probably 8 out of 10 times. 46-28 now, under 2 to play, quarter number 3 of action. Lane Tech looking for some miracle comeback. The 3, missed by Barron. Haven't said that term a lot tonight, missed by Barron, but he does there. And Lane Tech will get it back. We'll see if that 3 leads to some offensive momentum. Solibo step back over the fingertips of Barron. Timeout called, 30 seconds by Matt Monroe and St. Ignatius. Wow, so Barron is listed at 6'5", Malloy is listed at 6'3", so at least a 2-inch advantage for Barron, but that step back just gave Malloy the space he needed to give them cut the lead to 16, get Malloy another 2. He's up to 12 now tonight, and Lane Tech still trying to stay in this one. 16 is the smallest the lead for St. Ignatius has been in the last couple of minutes. It was 10 at halftime, and then out of halftime, they just kept scoring and scoring and scoring. Now Lane Tech's up to 13 points scored this quarter, more productive than it was either of the first 2 quarters, and they'll hope to carry on that momentum. They need, if Lane Tech's going to win this, I think what they're going to need to force some turnovers. There's not a lot of turnovers I can remember tonight given by St. Ignatius. They're just so clean with the ball, but I mean, usually Lane Tech force those turnovers with their man-to-man defense. We'll see what they do, but Lane Tech really needs to have some defensive stops, and the easiest way to do that, just not let any shots come up from St. Ignatius. It'll be Wolfpack basketball. Lane Tech is going to press all 5 guys. We'll see. Rosenkrantz and Soar kind of near the logo, but it looks like all 5 guys will press here for Lane Tech out of the timeout. Now they'll have Springer run back, but Soar, Solibo, Malloy, and Rosenkrantz kind of in a 1-2-1 press here. There's the trap I was talking about. They trap Kemp, and he is going to get called for a travel. So that's what I was saying. Lane Tech has not been able to trap guys all season long. Usually where it was this year, it was more closer to the midcourt, but they just trap Kemp right out of the inbound, as O'Shaughnessy is going to check in for him, and Lane Tech gets it back. A little bit of momentum here in favor of Lane, trailing by 16 here. 1:29 to go, quarter number 3 of play. Jack Soar with it, gives it to Malloy. Looks like Malloy thought about going for a 3 there. Instead, going to drive in and can't get the bounce to go. Rebounded there from St. Ignatius. That's one of the first times we've seen Malloy miss a shot like that here this afternoon. AJ Red with it. 67 seconds to go, quarter number 3. This would be a long time to hold the basketball, and an offensive foul is going to be called on St. Ignatius. That's going to be their 7th team foul. So Lane Tech will be in the bonus for the second half, 4th quarter of play, because that was a defensive foul. Oh no, they're calling for it. We'll see. Refs are not going to give it to them. I thought Lane Tech wanted 1-1, but instead they'll just have possession here. 54 seconds to go, quarter number 3. Malloy thought about the 3, now pulls for it, missed. Solibo running for the rebound, goes off of his fingertips, and unable to do anything with that possession is Lane Tech. When you have the ball in these late game situations down by 15, 20 points, it's really important you score on all those free chances, and they don't do it here. 46-30, 40 seconds to go, quarter number 3. Red gets it down low. They will pass it off, and they're going to call a blocking fall there on Springer. That's what we're talking about. It's just so hard to tell when these refs are going to call a charge versus a block. A lot of the refs this season, we've kind of been able to pick up on patterns and see if it's usually foul, if it's usually a block, usually a charge. Just can't see that here tonight. as St. Ignatius will keep the basketball underneath their scoring basket. 34.6 seconds to go in the third quarter. 16-point lead for the Wolfpack. Lane Tech doing a really good job off these inbounds, but they will get it to O'Shaughnessy here. O'Shaughnessy, I think, has one basket. He's been quiet offensively as they get inside the Baron. The give and go. O'Shaughnessy fumbles it, though, so they have to retry that. 17 seconds. In the corner, the three, no good there from Jackson Kotecki. Second three-point shot tonight. First one he missed, and Springer throws it off the knee of a defender, and Lane Tech will get it underneath their scoring basket, down by 16 here. 9.1 seconds to go. So a timeout will be called by Nicholas Legabo and Lane Tech. Not sure if that's a 30-second or a full timeout. It'll be a 30-second timeout. So Lane Tech will have 2 timeouts heading into the... Both of the teams will. I missed one from St. Ignatius. So both teams will have 2 timeouts heading into the fourth quarter. Lane Tech will be in the bonus. St. Ignatius will not be. Lane Tech still has 4 fouls to give. And now Lane's going to try to draw up an inbound play here for this end of the third quarter. So his 10-point game at halftime looks as if Lane Tech will not go into the fourth with a smaller deficit. However, it could have been as big of a deficit as, 2021? Instead, they've cut it to a 16-point game, and they can make it 14 or 13 here on a final shot attempt. It'll be Jack Soar inbounding it. Oh, no, they're going to have Sean Malloy inbound it. Interesting decision here from Lane Tech. Guessing it could be Malloy inbounds it, runs around, and they get it right back to him. As Malloy trying to find someone to inbound to, throws up a pass to Jack Soar. Jack Soar with 7 seconds, gives it to Malloy, just as we said. Malloy driving left-hand side, goes up for 2, can't finish. Springer with the putback, gets it to go as time expires. Nice play there from Lane Tech. And it'll be 46-32 as we enter the final quarter of play. We'll take a quick break and be back in just a second for the fourth quarter. Don't go anywhere. You're watching Lane Tech basketball here on the Lane Tech Athletics YouTube channel.
To the boys wrestling team who just won their first regional championship in school history. Congratulations, boys.
8 minutes to the side. This one, St. Ignatius on top of Lane Tech, 46-32. Lane Tech playing better than they did in the first half of the quarter. They were really struggling for the first 4 or 5 minutes, and then they finally find their footing both defensively and offensively to end the third. Looks as if it's going to be Lane Tech basketball, so they have another chance to cut into this lead to start off the fourth quarter. Lane Tech has been making their shots, but the bigger part of that run at the end is just they were able to keep St. Ignatius from scoring off some turnovers and press, and that's what we're talking about. That's going to be key for Lane here as Malloy will flip it out. Not on, oh no, Barron's there. He's just not guarding Malloy. It's a zone right now from St. Ignatius. A 3-2 it looks like, or maybe it's just a weird man-to-man as they find an open Rosenkrantz in and out. Springer gets it and gets fouled. Oh wow, I thought they were going to call it travel. He took a bunch of steps back, and now Springer will head to the line to shoot 1 and 1. So lucky break there from Lane, and they can cut it to a 13 or 12 point game here. Last time Springer went to the line, the only time tonight, he went 1 for 2, missed the first, made the second. That's not an option here. That's it's a 1 and 1. Lane Tech will only have the chance for the second one if he makes the first, and Springer doesn't do that, and easily gain the rebound there is Barron. So missed chance there from Lane Tech to start off the quarter. They're still in the bonus though, as we reach under 7.5 to play in the game, and this one thrown away by Davis. It's what we were talking about. This is the same 5 into the game for St. Ignatius. It's not like they're putting their bench in or anything. They've just not been able to score with ease. They still have Gielan, they still have Barron in. just unable to find their way into the basket. As Malloy, every time he starts a drive, it comes from the outside. This one stripped away from him. He somehow gets it. Rosenkrantz to the basket. Can't get the floor to go. Gets his own rebound. What a play there from Will Rosenkrantz. And now Malloy will come up with it. Malloy driving in. Goes up for two. Oh, my goodness. Sean Malloy, wow. Falling to the ground. He was just brought down and hits the basket. Sean Malloy with a chance to make it a three-point play. 46-34. He can make an 11-point game here. That was the 9th foul called against St. Ignatius. So Lane Tech really close to the double bonus now. And checking into the game will be Kotecki. He comes in for Geel. So Geel, the D1 commit for St. Ignatius, gets some time out in the 4th quarter. Kotecki, who's probably been the stronger of the two, comes in. And Malloy looking to finish the third three-point play. He's been pretty consistent from the line. Misses it here, though. And it'll go off of Kotecki. Lane Tech gets possession. So initially bad luck for Lane Tech turns into a blessing, and they have a chance to make it a single-digit lead game here if they hit a 3, or they can make it a 10-point game as it was as we entered the second half. Lane Tech's offense finally finding its footing. Rosenkrantz pulls for 3, that one short, right into the hands of Red, and St. Ignatius really wants a basket to quiet down this Lane Tech momentum. Shahid Saliba, who started the quarter on the bench, will check back in momentarily. Barron is going to, they're going to call an off-the-ball foul on Jack Tsor. There's been more off-the-ball fouls than we've seen in probably any game this season tonight. Refs really surveying the whole court here as Saliba will check in for Rosenkrantz after he misses his 3, but a nice run there for Rosenkrantz on offense, just helping this team as Davis will inbound it to Barron, goes up for 2 and finishes with ease. 48-34, 6.5 to play. Sean Malloy, the leading scorer for Lane Tech with 14, all off of 2. Thought about the 3 there. Instead, will drive in, goes up for 2, and finishes. Sean Malloy just can't be stopped, and it will go back to a 2-point game now. 48-38, 6:10 to go, quarter number 4. This is what we're talking about. Lane Tech's able to keep the lead around double digits, but the problem is they've had trouble breaking into it. Lane Tech almost had a lucky break there. Instead, it will lead to a Davis 2. And now Lane Tech will need a 3 to make it double digits. 5:55 to go in the game. Both the teams just have 2 timeouts. Lane Tech with 2 fouls to give. And they are also already in the bonus. Next foul will put them into the double bonus. Saliba almost loses his dribble. Now he will. Springer, though, comes up with it. Grunenbaum in the corner. Goes for 3. Misses it. Second missed 3 in a row for Lane Tech. And getting it back will be St. Ignatius. 5:29 to go now. Quarter number 4. Missing the shot is Kotecki. Goes up again, and this time a foul is going to be called. Lane Tech thought they had a clean block there. Both Malloy and Springer did, but they're going to call it against Lane Tech instead. It will be, I think they said 4th on Sean Malloy. So Malloy into some foul trouble here in the 4th quarter. And Kotecki will have 2 shots at the line to try to add to his total. He's been nice tonight, playing in that 5 role. One of the top post players in the class of 2023. As he makes the first one. It's almost hard to identify him as a post player just because he also has the shooting and he plays a lot of times not in the post, but position-wise, you'd put him in that 5 role if you are any team, as Kotecki makes the second one as well. Goes 2 for 2 from the line, and St. Ignatius' lead now back up to 16 after... I had 38 for Lane Tech, but the scoreboard has 36, so we'll go back down to that. So I guess a 16-point lead for St. Ignatius here now. And a foul is going to be called on O'Shaughnessy, and that will be double bonus. Malloy will get 2 free throws from the line to try to cut into this lead. A couple of quick baskets from It'll be 2 shots, yes. But as we were saying, Lane Tech has kind of fallen back into this hole there after they got it down to a 12 or 10-point game, as Malloy will make the first one with ease. One more shot at it. It will still be a 14-point game even if he misses this, even if he makes the second one. Lane Tech's offense has definitely been better in the second half as Malloy goes 2 for 2 from the line. That was his first time shooting today and making points when it wasn't just an inside drive or finish. He had missed 1 free throw previously, and it'll be a full timeout called by Lane Tech and head coach Nicholas Legalbo. So they're down to, I believe, just 1 free throw to go, or 1 timeout to go. Scoreboard still has 2, but I just think they forgot to take 1 down. So Lane Tech using almost all their timeouts here. Still 5:10 to go, quarter number 4 of action. It's a 14-point lead for St. Ignatius. Out of the timeout is going to be the ball for the Wolfpack. Couple of baskets here. You could probably say St. Ignatius has this one in the bag. The biggest problem is 3-point shooting has not been key for Lane Tech today. A lot of this season they were able to score a lot of threes, and that's how they were winning games. That has not been the case tonight. So they really need their offense to come alive and either get some and ones through Malloy, or they need to make some 3 balls from Solibo and Sora and Grunewald if they want to compete in this one. 5:10 to go to decide the winner in this Saturday afternoon matchup. Lane Tech has already outscored their first half numbers. They had 17 in the first half. With 5:10 to go in the second half, they already have 21, and hoping to add to that number here as it will be Davis, Kotecki, O'Shaughnessy, Barron, and Red, the 5 on the court for St. Ignatius. Still on the bench is Geel there, as St. Ignatius able to break the press with ease through O'Shaughnessy. You'd think that the Wolfpack want to take some time off the clock here with every possession, as now Barron's just going to hold it and they get to Red. Obviously, I don't think they're going to enact a strategy like Northside or Schurz had, where they just took so much time off the clock every possession. But if they can take 15, 30, 45 seconds off every single time, Lane Tech, even if they make all their shots, they might not have a chance to get back in the lead, as Kotecki hits a 3, a big one there for the Wolfpack. And after Lane Tech had that scoring run, it's back to an 17-point game here, with 4:24 to go in quarter number 4. Losing the basketball, but getting fouled immediately will be Malloy. So that's the number 1 guy you want at the free throw line. But even if he makes both of these, it won't offset the 2 fouls, the 3-pointer there from Kotecki. Kotecki now with 2 3-pointers made in this one. It's been really impressive on all levels scoring-wise, as first free throw is good from Malloy. He's made 3 in a row after missing that 1 on the 3-point play. Now 1 more shot at it for Malloy. The captain for this team, he makes it as well. So 2 for 2 from the line there from Sean Malloy. He's up to, I think, 18 on the game, one of his highest so far this year. Now Barron with it, driving in. Spins it out to Davis. Here we go. Once again, St. Ignatius trying to burn some time off the clock with a 15-point lead here. Down low, Kotecki. Who else? So it was Barron through the first 3 quarters, and now Kotecki finding his footing scoring-wise here in the 4th quarter to try to put this one out of reach for Lane Tech. St. Ignatius gets it back. Lane Tech unable to score there, and you don't want to put a wrap on this one just yet, but it's looking more and more unlikely that Lane will have the time for a comeback, especially if they're not scoring on every single possession like how they turned it over right there. Davis driving wide open. Lane Tech had 4 guys in the paint or further to the left, and that just gave Davis an easy route to the basket. 57-42 now. That was actually the first points of the night for Davis. And a foul is going to be called on Red. So Solibo will now be shooting free throws. This bonus is coming in handy for Lane Tech, but might just be too little too late. A 19-point game now with Solibo going to the line to shoot 2 and that will be a mass timeout. So 59-40 the score, 3:16 to go, and in addition to scoring 19 points in 3 minutes, you got to put the other thing into perspective. Lane has not been able, there's been no scoring droughts really by St. Ignatius all day long. They've had a couple possessions in a row where maybe they don't make a shot, but no like clear, explicit scoring droughts for the Wolfpack, and there's no reason to think that that would happen in the final 3:16 of this game. And looks like St. Ignatius very well may win 3 in a row heading into their next conference game on Tuesday against De La Salle, and then Wednesday against De Francis de Sales. I believe I'm getting the dates right. 2-8 and 2-9 is the dates for those 2 games. They have a couple of big ones. This team was, as we mentioned, projected to do very well. They scheduled very tough. They've had some rough spots. They'll be 15-10 after today most likely, but they still have 2 very big matchups. 2 teams who as well have had those tough schedules, and because of it don't have as strong as records as people have projected. It's kind of funny. If you were to have one tier of teams, I think you'd put St. Rita, Yorkville Christian, and St. Ignatius all into it, and those 3 will be playing, not Yorkville Christian and St. Rita. I believe they already did play, but it'll be Yorkville Christian taking on St. Ignatius on February 15th, and St. Rita taking on St. Ignatius on February 19th. And those are some of the last games before the state tournament will start. I believe it's projected to be seeds released Thursday, and I think that would be brackets released Friday. So Lane Tech has a game next Saturday, so you bet we'll have a full bracket rundown for Lane Tech, and it's going to be a rough run for them. Just their sectional is so stacked. There's a chance they'll be going to a regional at Whitney Young. Last time that happened, Lane lost in the regional championship to Whitney Young, so we'll see what happens as the first free throw, good from Solibo, to make it an 18-point game. 59-41, second free throw, no good. Solibo with an uncharacteristic miss there from the free throw line. And now St. Ignatius is just going to try to take some time off the clock. Lane Tech still playing with their aggressive defense. Kotecki loses it. Malloy fighting for it, and they are going to, a timeout will be called by St. Ignatius. So Lane Tech was fighting for that jump ball, but for a second or two, they took their hands off of it, and it will be a 30-second timeout called by St. Ignatius, giving the Wolfpack a chance to think this one over, and they will keep possession now. 3:01 to go. Could be a slow end to this one. We'll see. Lane Tech, they don't give up a lot. Sometimes even when they're down by double digits, they'll still be fouling near the end to try to go for those missed free throws. We'll see if they do that here. Slightly of a bigger deficit here, down by 18, but a couple threes, and it could be close to a 10-point game. 59-41 the score, 3:01 to go. Alex Burstein on the call here from Lane Gymnasium. Some Saturday afternoon hoops. Game started at 2, so it looks like it'll be just about an hour and a half or so, traditional time for an IHSA game. The first quarter was close. It was a 3-point game at the end of one. If it had kept like that, probably would have been a much longer match, but St. Ignatius has hit their shots, and because of it, this has turned, I don't think you can call it a blowout, but a pretty big lead for the Wolfpack as we near the end of this one. Out of the timeout is going to be St. Ignatius basketball, up by 18, trying to get it to a 20-point lead for the second time. They had it in the third quarter, then Lane hit a couple of big shots to get it all the way back towards almost 10 points. And now St. Ignatius with a pretty good chance to make it once again a 3-point game, a 20-point game. Couple of subs into the game for St. Ignatius. Number 4, Joey Siciliano making his first appearance of the game, as well as number 14, Kyle McIntyre, as McIntyre will score right off of coming into the game, and St. Ignatius scoring with all their players. They reached the 60-point mark. After the first quarter and a half, it did not look like any team was going to reach the 60, maybe not even the 50-point mark, but St. Ignatius offense, it's kind of just grown and grown throughout the game, especially because of Barron, but a couple other players as well, and now they reach 61 points. They scored 69 last night, so we'll see if they can reach that again here. Salibo down low, able to finish with the quick 2. So here's what we're talking about. Lane Tech never giving up despite the big deficit here. 2:15 to go. We'll have another sub into the game soon for Ignatius. Number 13, Phoenix Gill, son of former NBA player Kendall Gill, will check in soon. 2 minutes to go, quarter number 4. 61-43, St. Ignatius trying to just get some time off the clock. Red, he got up high there for the floater, but unable to finish. Now Jack Soar will hand it off to Malloy. Malloy pulls for 3, nothing but nets. They need a couple more of those earlier. 1:40 to go, 100 seconds into the game, left in the game, excuse me, as St. Ignatius gonna slowly work against this Lane Tech press and get it across half court. Malloy's put together a nice game. He might be up to 20 now. I think that's a career high. I'll need to recheck my numbers, but Malloy's had a good game, just has not been enough. There really has not been any more offensive help. Salibo's had a few, as Gill will check into the game for Red. So 61-46 to lead, a 15-point lead for the Wolfpack. 80 seconds left in this one as St. Ignatius closes in at 15-10 on the year. Lane Tech's going to drop another one after their super strong start to year. They've had much rougher at 2022, and they're going to drop to 16-8. Still a pretty good record for them, but looking less and less likely that Lane Tech's going to reach that 20-win mark in the regular season. As Barron will take a seat on the bench. Checking in for St. Ignatius will be number 22, Sean Fiegel. Most of the bench is going to get playing time. Looks like still a couple of players dressed. It's a really big St. Ignatius roster. I think Lane is 16, and usually you don't see teams with more than that. There's 17 rostered guys for St. Ignatius this year. When I was making my charts, it just seemed like they kept on going. Almost took them a full page of paper. As a foul is going to be called on Salibo. Not sure if that was on purpose or not. That is going to be team foul number 7 on Lane Tech. So it'll finally be the bonus for St. Ignatius after Lane Tech was in the bonus for almost the entire first I think the entire fourth quarter, and double bonus for most of the fourth quarter. St. Ignatius finally gets into it with 47.1 seconds to go. This will go out on Lane Tech, and St. Ignatius will keep possession. Fiegel will inbound it. Only guy who's had quality minutes in right now is Kotecki, number 24. Keeps in with some height for St. Ignatius. Grunenbaum with the steal. Goes up for 2 and gets fouled. So Grunenbaum will have 2 more shots. He was really strong in the first quarter, and then scoring-wise, Grunenbaum slowed down the rest of the game, but still has been playing well the last couple of games, especially on that 16-point performance on Thursday, as number 11, Austin Toon, the 6'1 senior, will check into the game. Walking off with injury, it looks like he's holding his arm, is number 4, Joey Siciliano. He was the one, he might have been the one who had the foul called on him. Not sure, but he will walk off with help of the trainer, and Ethan Grunenbaum will have his free throw here, 61-46. 2 free throws for Grunenbaum, so the offense won't move on the first one, and Grunenbaum makes it to get Lane to 47 points. Not the worst scoring performance we've seen from Lane Tech, but definitely not the best, as Grunenbaum goes 2 for 2 from the line. 13-point game right now. And although the scoreboard might show around the 10-point game, it's been all St. Ignatius all day long. As you see there, Kotecki scoring again, and plays like that, St. Ignatius has just been able to beat through this Lane offense. Salibo misses it. It's also been a slow night for Salibo. 2nd straight slow game for him. Lane Tech's really going to need to change that going into Monday night, as the short 2, no good there from McIntyre. And Lane will get it back. 10 seconds, trying for some final points. Jack Soar will drain a 3 to get Lane Tech across the 50-point mark, make it a 12-point game, and dribbling it out will be Kotecki, and that will bring us to the end of this one, 63-51, the final. Lane Tech unable to hold off St. Ignatius. St. Ignatius, I think, led from tip-off to final whistle. I don't think Lane was ever in the lead, and St. Ignatius improves to 15-10 on the year. Lane Tech drops to 16-8 heading into their second round game against Curie of the Chicago Public League playoffs on Monday at 5 p.m. That game's at Curie. We'll have the call as always. Big scoring tonight from Sean Malloy. We have him at 14, 17, 21. So I think that would be a career high if I'm correct with my numbers there. He had 20 against North Lawndale. Big night for him. But it was the Kotecki and Barron show for St. Ignatius. Barron put, I think, 26. I can count really quickly here. 6, 9, 8, 10, 11, 16. I have him at 21 for Barron, and Kotecki had 4, 7, 10, plus 4, 14. So those two combined for almost 35 points, over half of the scoring for St. Ignatius. Really good games from those two, and St. Ignatius sends Lane back to Lane Tech with a loss. Lane Tech drops to .666, their win percentage for the year, 16-8. As you mentioned, we'll be back on Monday against Curie. Well, the call for that one, but until then, your final score here from St. Ignatius and Joseph J. Gentile Gymnasium. St. Ignatius 63, Lane Tech 51. My name's Alex Burstein. Good night.